Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're going deep on something that really resonated with me.
Sure.
This idea of standards in HR.
Yeah.
We've all heard all those buzzwords
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
about creating those, quote unquote, amazing employee experiences.
Yes.
But the article you sent over, Sylvia Ola's piece in the Contrarian HR from December 20th, I think it was,
Yes.
it really made me think, how do we actually make that happen?
Yeah.
How do we get beyond just talking about it? Oh, and before I forget, make sure you follow and subscribe if you're enjoying
Yeah.
this deep dive.
I think one of the things that struck me most was just how much emphasis there is on the idea of a great employee experience,
Yeah?
but then nobody ever seems to talk about the how.
Yeah.
Like, what's the actual framework for making it happen consistently?
Well, she kind of hits the nail on the head.
Yeah.
She uses this analogy, describing the global HR landscape as, quote, more disorganized than a bunch of drunks on a night out in Soho.
Yeah. That's pretty vivid.
It is.
But it does make you think. I mean, without clear standards, it's no wonder that so many HR departments end up just reacting to problems
Right.
instead of being able to really shape the employee experience in a proactive way.
It's always firefighting instead of, building a solid foundation.
Exactly.
Kind of reminds me of, trying to build a house without a blueprint.
Yep.
You might end up with something that looks like a house on the outside,
Mm-hmm.
but it's probably not going to be very functional or very stable in the long run.
And that's where this whole idea of employee experience standards comes in.
Okay.
It's like that missing blueprint,
Okay.
providing this framework for what good HR should look like at every single stage of the employee journey.
So it's not just about, one-off initiatives.
Right.
It's about having this overarching structure in place.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's not a new idea.
Right.
Ola talks about how she's implemented these standards in 2 different organizations.
Yeah. And what I loved was the reaction from those senior HR leaders.
Oh, yeah. They were like,
Basically,
finally.
It was like they were just waiting for someone to give them this kind of guidance.
Yeah, it's like they've been told to improve employee experience, but
Mhm.
nobody's ever told them, like, this is how you actually do it.
Yeah, it's like giving someone a map.
Right.
Instead of just saying, go explore.
Exactly.
Okay.
And think about the impact this can have across the entire organization.
Yeah.
When HR employees finally know exactly what they're working towards
Mm.
and how to get there, senior HR can actually track their team's progress.
Huh?
And senior leadership finally has a tangible way to see how HR is impacting the company's success.
So it's not just about making life easier for HR.
No, it's about creating a system where everybody wins.
Absolutely.
And, it's not just theory.
Right.
Ola's article even points out that companies like NatWest and ING, they've already been using this approach for years.
Really?
Yeah, and they've seen some incredible benefits,
Mhm.
both in terms of, their bottom line and their employee satisfaction.
So it's a proven strategy for building a successful workplace.
Yeah, and I think what's really powerful is how these standards can address some of those fundamental questions that have always plagued HR departments.
Like what kinds of questions?
Well, things like, are we attracting the right talent? Are our hiring processes actually effective? Is our onboarding setting people up for success?
Yeah. I mean, those are big questions.
They are.
And without a clear framework, I can see how they would feel really overwhelming.
Exactly. It becomes all about guesswork and intuition.
Yeah.
You might think you're doing well,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't have a real way to measure your progress or identify those areas where you could improve.
So it's no wonder that so many HR professionals feel burnt out.
Yeah.
They're constantly being asked to achieve this vague goal
Yeah.
of creating a great employee experience,
Right.
but they don't necessarily have the tools or the guidance to
Yeah.
actually make it happen.
And that's where it gets dangerous.
Yeah.
Because without clear standards, HR initiatives can become reactive and inconsistent. And that leads to frustration for everybody involved.
Both the employees and the HR team itself.
Exactly. When Ola compares implementing these standards to losing weight, it's such a simple analogy,
It is.
but it's so true.
Yeah.
You can't just jump into solutions
Right.
without understanding where you're starting from.
That's where that HR standards audit comes in.
Exactly.
It's like stepping on the scale
Yeah.
after a long holiday season.
You might not like what you see.
But you got to do it.
You do. It's that moment of truth
Right.
that lets you set realistic goals
Exactly.
and make meaningful progress.
Otherwise, you're just kind of throwing darts in the dark.
Exactly. And the audit helps you identify those specific areas
Okay.
where standards can actually make a difference.
So it's not just about saying, okay, we need standards across the board.
Yeah.
It's about figuring out where those gaps are,
Right.
and then building a roadmap for improvement.
And those standards,
Yeah.
they shouldn't be static documents
How?
that are just gathering dust on a shelf.
Uh-huh.
They need to be actionable,
Oh.
and they need to be focused on continuous improvement.
So it's not a one-time fix.
Right.
It's an ongoing process
It is.
of evaluating and refining
Yeah.
and adapting those HR practices to meet the needs of your workforce.
And that's when the real magic happens.
Okay.
And those standards become so embedded in the culture of the organization that they're driving that positive change from the ground up.
But how do companies even go about finding these standards in the first place?
Right.
I mean, are there like universal guidelines?
Well, that's where it gets interesting.
Okay.
Ola actually points to a resource called the Strengths Company.
Okay.
And they specialize in helping organizations develop and implement these standards.
So there are experts out there
There are.
who can guide companies through this whole process.
Absolutely. Because it can feel overwhelming to try and tackle this on your own.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Having a partner like the Strengths Company can provide that valuable support and expertise to make sure you're building a solid foundation for your HR practices.
So they're like the architects,
Exactly.
helping you design and build that stable, functional house we were talking about.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it all comes back to this simple idea. Good HR doesn't have to be complicated.
Right.
It's about establishing clear standards,
Okay.
measuring your progress, and constantly striving to improve the employee experience.
I love how Ola really challenges that traditional image of HR as being this bureaucratic, paper-pushing department. She's really painting this picture of HR as being this strategic driver of positive change, shaping the entire culture of an organization.
And that's a vision that I think resonates with a lot of HR professionals.
I think so, too.
Who are out there trying to make a real difference. And it's not just about theory or abstract concepts. The impact of these standards can be seen and felt in the real world and the everyday experiences of employees.
And that's what we're going to explore.
Yes.
In the final part of this deep dive.
Okay.
We're going to look at how these standards translate into those tangible benefits across those different stages of the employee journey.
We'll see how something as simple as a set of standards can actually transform the way companies attract, onboard, develop, and ultimately retain their most valuable asset, their people.
So we've talked about why HR standards matter.
Yeah.
But now let's get into the how do these standards actually play out in those everyday employee experiences?
Well, I think you can really see the impact of standards at each stage of the employee journey. Like, let's just start with attracting talent.
Okay.
If you don't have those clear standards, how do you even define what the right talent is for your organization?
You'll end up with these super vague job descriptions.
Right.
That can be for any company.
Exactly.
It's no wonder
Yeah.
that companies struggle to attract top talent.
But with established standards, you can create these really targeted job descriptions that outline the specific skills and experiences and even the values that are needed for success in that role.
So it's not just about qualifications on paper.
No, it's about finding people who are a good fit for your unique culture.
And those standards can guide your whole recruitment process, too.
Absolutely. You're making decisions based on this objective criteria, so it ensures fairness and consistency every step of the way.
It takes out that gut feeling or unconscious bias that can sometimes creep into those hiring decisions.
Exactly. And then once you've actually brought somebody on board, think about the power of having standardized onboarding.
Okay.
Every single new employee receives that same level of support, information, resources, setting them up for success right from day one.
No more just throwing them in the deep end and hoping they figure it out.
Right. Everybody has a clear roadmap for those crucial first few days and weeks.
And those standards can cover everything.
Oh, yeah.
From like the initial paperwork to mentorship opportunities to setting clear performance expectations.
It's about creating a sense of belonging, giving new hires the confidence to really hit the ground running.
That consistency is so key.
It is.
It shows employees that you've really thought about their experience, that you're invested in their success.
And when people feel valued and supported, they're more likely to be engaged, productive, committed to the company's success.
And that's the real magic of these HR standards.
It is.
It's this ripple effect that benefits everyone.
It's not just about making HR more efficient.
Right.
It's about building a better workplace overall.
Yeah, a place where people feel inspired to do their best work.
Yeah. Exactly. And Ola's article really does a great job of making the case for this approach.
It does. And as we've talked about, the Strengths Company is an amazing resource for any organization out there that's looking to implement these standards and really transform those HR practices.
It's a good reminder.
It is.
That good HR isn't about reinventing the wheel. It's about having the right tools and the guidance to build a truly exceptional employee experience.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, think about this. What aspects of your own work or even your life could benefit from a little bit more structure, clarity, and intention?
Could establishing even some basic standards in your personal life lead to less stress and better outcomes? It's something to think about.
It really is.
As we finish up here.
It is. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of HR standards.
Of course.
Make sure you subscribe to the deep dive for more explorations of the ever-evolving workplace.
Absolutely.
We'll see you next time.